Those look like bass to me. How they're real close to the bottom, kind of lined up along the bottom. And they're right on the edge where it came out of that creek channel, got up on the hard spot. I just missed. So on that one cast, I've had 3 strikes already. That's one thing I like about a spoon. It's when you've got them grouped up in an area, the deal is you're trying to get the fish to be really competitive with each other. And so you got to get one fish amped up to chase the spoon and bite it, and that will get the rest of them almost started in their own little feeding frenzy, and then that's when you can really get in there and jack on them. But the spoon, what's nice about it, it's a large profile bait. If you lay this spoon down next to a crankbait or a swim bait or a worm or a jig, it's a lot bigger than those other baits. I just missed another one right there. And the nice thing about a spoon is, you know, with a lot of other baits, you know, you set the hook and miss the fish, you just got to wind up and go again. The spoon, you just let it go right back to the bottom. Sometimes it won't even make it back to the bottom once you get the school activated. It's just, you know, you've got one excited, he drew the attention of another one, he'll come over and hit it, that one will miss it, you'll swing and miss him, let it go back to the bottom, another one saw that, he came over and he'll try to hit it, and then all of a sudden now the school is competitive, and then you really, you know, that's when it starts to really help to have 2 people, because you want to keep a bait in the water constantly. And I mean, obviously a spoon imitates a large bait fish down there that looks injured. It's trying to get away. Maybe, you know, maybe a fish came and busted up a shad and now he's wounded and he's trying to get out of there, and the other fish see it as an easy meal. So, I mean, any lake that has a big forage, you know, gizzard shad, threadfin shad, large bait fish, and this can be a really good option. The bait's heavy. The spoon I'm throwing is actually a little bit larger than what most people throw, just because we have really big gizzards on the Tennessee River. And so you know, that's the nice thing about the spoon, is not only can you get a school fired up and activated, but you can actually catch the biggest fish out of that school on the spoon. Some of the keys with it, I mean, it is heavy, but it doesn't throw like a, you know, like a rock, because it's got a cup in it. It catches the wind and it'll get a little squirrely on you. It'll slice like a golf ball and it'll lay up and just stop in the wind, which will cause a backlash on your reel if you're not careful. So I fish it on 20-pound line. This is 20-pound fluorocarbon. I've got it on a medium heavy rod. This happens to be a Abu Garcia villain rod. And then, you know, you're just gonna, I want to snatch it up off the bottom, but the key to the bait is not what it does going up, it's what it does coming back down. So I want to feed it slack and kind of watch my line. I've got a bow in my line, and what I'm watching for, and I'll feel it in this rod. If you've got a good sensitive rod, you'll feel it even with slack in your line. You'll feel something, it'll be a sharp jerk. Or you'll see your line, you'll get that bow in it, and all of a sudden it'll just lay limp. And one's got it when it did that. So I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna watch my slack all the way to the bottom. And once it gets to the bottom, I'm gonna reel up, snap on it again. You get one hit, you get them hooked. I've kind of gone both ways with how to land a fish on a spoon. They're notorious for, they take that spoon, you know, if they're hooked just in the front of the mouth and they've got an ounce of spoon hanging out here, they're notorious about shaking their head, and they'll bang that spoon against the side of their head and get themselves free. And so when I've had some big ones on, I've found it's actually better to do like those big swim bait guys do out west. And they'll basically, you know, they've got a heavy rod, heavy line, a reel with their drag basically winched down, and they just go into just winding them things as hard as they can. And what you're doing is trying to take control of the fish. Don't give him a chance to get out there with free line and jump and throw that spoon around. If he comes up to the surface, you kind of reel through it. You just kind of drag him along the surface so he can't get any leverage to be able to shake his head. The other part of that is once you get them close to the boat like that, you know, they're gonna jump here if you take that pressure off. So you either need to go ahead and come the rest of the way with them and swing them into the boat, or you need someone there to help you land it and net it real quick, because 9 times out of 10, if it's a big one and he gets out there and jumps with that big spoon on the side of his head, he's gonna knock himself free. So you just wanna make a long cast. Then when it hits out there, I'll try to let out a bunch of line, and then I'm gonna watch. I want the bait to fall almost vertical where it landed out there. So if it takes up all my slack, I'll open my reel, let it take the rest of the slack till I know it's on the bottom. And essentially the way you know it's on the bottom is your line will just lay limp on the water. Yeah, so I mean, I find these places where these fish get grouped up with my structure scan. I'm looking for either a higher spot that's got a hard, clean bottom that's been cleaned off, or I'm looking, you know, where a creek channel comes in and touches maybe a point or a hump, or you know, some place that a school of bass can relate to and feed on bait fish. That's what I'm looking for. And that's the thing. I mean, like I said earlier, these fish they could be just sitting out here grouped up and not really feeding, and the spoon gets them actively feeding. You get one excited and chasing it a little bit, and then another one saw it, and now you got 2 chasing it, and before you know it, you got the whole school going. He might be fouling too. Can't tell, he's acting like a biggin. Yeah, he's a biggin. All right, that's what I'm talking about right there. I was gonna try to lip that fish, but like I talked about earlier, you get him up here around the boat jumping and throwing, see how big this thing is, and he slams that against his head. Just keeps banging it against his head until this hook pops loose. That's a beautiful fish. Nice healthy belly already about here. Chomping on shad again. That spoon's a great shad imitator. Thank you, old girl. See ya.
Check us out at wired2fish.com.